Hey, so I'm with Wanda in your home in East Chicago, and you're right outside the Superfund site, the main site that has been the main focus for the lead contamination, ground soil, the water, as we've discovered recently. So you're helping with the water distribution. The city, the state has not yet been paying for water to be distributed. So you've been helping to spearhead donations and water distribution. Just wanted to ask you, just tell me your history. How long have you lived here, and when did you first suspect there was an issue with the water?
I was born and raised here in East Chicago. I'm a community activist. People started complaining, about the water coming out in different colors and shady and grayish. And so, that's when everybody started getting involved in knowing that this was going on.
When did they start complaining around?
I would say about a lot of people, to be sincere with you, don't even know what's going on. Okay, but they were complaining about that, and so they were wondering what was going on with that. So then I believe the city then came in with what was going on and what they were doing.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people in the Superfund site weren't even aware that West Calumet, for example, that it was built where a lead
No,
plant
they
used to be.
didn't. They did not.
Mm-hmm. And it seems like even when they were coming in to test the soil, these things, really, when we were there, it's still a lot of people didn't know what was going on. So it seems like there was just the government knew, the EPA knew the risks, but the people were never made aware.
That's correct.
So since it became a national story, kind of, I don't think there's been enough coverage. In August, when I was here, the EPA said, "Oh, it's not a water issue." And then in December, the first headlines started coming out: lead found in the water. What's been the response since you guys realized and there was confirmation?
We've had the group going out door to door, and there's still a lot of residents in zones 2 and 3 that do not know what's going on. So we've been going out there and letting them know about the contamination in the water and what's going on, because they're like awed, like what's going on in East Chicago. I don't know if they're not watching the TV, our local TV, or so we have started to put out information. And as we're taking the water door to door, we're letting them know what's going on. We let them know that we went down to Indianapolis, that it's going, through the process. And they're just like awed because, it's very surprising. A lot of them in zones 2 and 3 were not aware of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Still to this moment.
And do you feel that there was a dereliction in terms of the government here? Obviously, he's now vice president, but Mike Pence, he never came down here. When the issue was known, he declined to issue a state of emergency or disaster, which if you issue a disaster emergency, funding kicks in.
Right.
Whereas the new governor, Eric Holcomb, he's very new in office, and he has issued that disaster.
Yeah, and it was really surprising that Pence did not, because, we were trying to get, a lot of residents felt that we were like Flint, Michigan, and I'm very surprised that Pence did not, say that this was a disaster area, but him being vice president, so we were like, now what? Now where are we headed? So we were waiting until the new governor came into the process to see what was going to go on there.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like he's taken a different aspect of it, and so hopefully, we did go down in the group and we spoke and everything, the residents from the community strategy group, and spoke, on behalf of East Chicago. The mayor was there and the senators spoke also on behalf of East Chicago. And so then I think it's progressed. Us going down there made a difference. And so then they saw that East Chicago was down there, and so that it moved, it went through.
Well, to me, the most concerning thing is, and it's similar in Flint, I was here a couple weeks ago, and at the time, maybe 40 homes were tested for water. They haven't put out all the results. some two tests that I did. There was lead and bacteria and all sorts of toxic things. We're going to be doing more testing too. But bottom line is, majority of people obviously don't even know about the situation. But how is anyone to know if their water is safe? They've essentially been told the same thing that Flint has been told: use a filter.
Right. And that's what's going on. I mean, no, the city did come out and say, in regards to the phosphorus they're putting in the water and what they're putting in, and that that it's safe, So we don't know, but it's like a lot of people are iffy now. They don't know what to believe, or so there's a lot going on in East Chicago now.
Yeah, well, in recent history, we've seen in Flint the same city officials, well, not the same, but similar distance. They were saying for a year, yeah, there's nothing wrong with the water. There's nothing wrong with the water. It was literally a year after there was complaints, my water is brown, of rashes, that they finally said, admitted that there was a problem. So, do you have any concern that this might be? I don't want to say it's exactly like Flint, because Flint changed their water supply. This is more of a systematic. This whole community has been built around lead plants, lead emitters, an insecticide plant, right near a lot of water sources that have dumping going on. It's kind of like the perfect storm for decades here.
Right.
But are you worried that the bottom line is they're telling you things, but they've said things in the past that were not true?
Well, we've gotten to a point where, we're doing research on our own and seeing what actually is going on. I was at one meeting and I said, because they were talking about the soil, they were talking about the lead, arson. I brought up other chemicals, and we have to inhale this also, and so I also brought up the issue, how about the homes that are 75 to 100 years old? I believe that they should be tested also.
Like this one?
Yeah, this one is 100 years old. We bought this and brought it up, so it was presented at a meeting also in regards to that. Like I say, when I wake up in the morning before I take a shower, the first water that comes out, it does come out brown.
And you're not even in the direct Superfund
No,
site?
no, I am not. We had a lot of companies across the street. That company across the street that is no longer. It's not very many people, or I don't know what they're doing. It's open because you can hear, and they've cleaned up, but we don't know. Maybe that may be toxic. Why don't they test that?
What kind of company?
It was many years ago. I don't remember what the name of the company was.
Okay.
But also the empty land that's on Railroad Avenue. It's up for sale, and it's been like that for a long time. Why don't they test that there also? I mean, in the past, there was something there before, and it's so close to the lead company that was there. We're really concerned here in East Chicago, because, so much is going on, and the monies are just being, we know that it's a process, but I myself, when I leave out of here, I feel very good. I got tested for lead. I only have 1%, so I'm not worried about that. But I don't have any illnesses, and I feel terrible when I'm in East Chicago. Maybe it's the air that we're inhaling in that,
I can tell you, when I was covering the West Calumet complex for the first time, I already had sinus issues, but literally after 3 hours, I couldn't even breathe.
My eyes burn all the time, and I don't have any illnesses, and I'm like, what is this,
Do you think, I have my own take, but it seems like we're just seeing a pattern that not only the problem, but the responses are so delayed, incomplete in mostly black, brown, and poor communities. Flint, for example, actually has a pretty good population of white people too, so it's not just minorities, it's just low-income white people. I interviewed white folk that used to be strong middle class that are now, more poor. Right. But it seems like most of these communities that are having the lead issue are predominantly minority, low-income whites, blacks. East Chicago is largely Latino too.
Right.
And the response does not seem to really evoke any sense of urgency from the government.
I myself am Latina, and I was born and raised here, as I said. And my concern is a lot of companies, we used to have a lot of companies here. It was very industrial. There's a lot of companies that have left here. I truly believe the whole East Chicago needs to be tested. The whole East Chicago needs to be tested.
Do you think if we were in, some nice suburb in Ann Arbor and this was happening, do you think it would be the same response?
No. I don't. I really don't. That's just the way I feel about it,
Well, the reason I asked that is because Governor Snyder, he lives in Ann Arbor, and when there was a problem with pipes, the pipes were changed pretty quickly. So we have evidence that, there's definitely a different priority and sense of urgency when pipes could be, have an issue with lead or anything like that.
Right. See, the way I see things, because I'm not a politician, I'm a community activist.
That's why you're so honest.
Yeah, and I'm always out there with the fight because I can. I don't have anybody knocking on my door and saying I can't. So I can present whenever to whoever here, and I'm free because I'm a citizen of East Chicago. I was born and raised here, so I have a concern, and I have a concern for all the citizens of East Chicago, those that cannot speak up for themselves, and because we do have a big issue here in East Chicago in regards to the soil and and to the lead and now the water and
So for people watching, what do you think they need to know? Because this is my third time here. It seems to be evolving from the first time. It was the most urgent bat complex. They found like 200 times the level of what is allowable in the soil for lead. Then the next time it was shown that it was a water issue. Now we have a disaster declaration. Do you want to see people joining, coming down here and helping you protest? Do you want to see more water donations? What do you think is the most immediate need?
Our people here, a lot of our people are afraid to step up to the plate and say anything. So even though they may know what's going on, they will not step up to the plate. They're afraid, and so.
Afraid of what?
Of just speaking out on, they just don't want to. They don't want the spotlight. They don't want, they're okay with what's going on. I mean, they accept the water and everything. I ran into one of the ladies in Zone 2 yesterday, and she was saying, maybe it does make sense. I have all these issues, asthma, my lungs, and, I heard a little bit about what's going on, and maybe it is this that's going on this is why I'm being affected. A lot of people still in Zone 2 do not know that they need to go get tested for lead. So we were telling them out there too that to go to the health department to, it's free of charge to go up there and get their blood tested for lead, I think we need more help down here. More monies need to come forth because, like I said, I'm not a politician, so I don't follow that ream, but the process of the monies, I mean, where are they? It's taking, I know it's a process, but we have I believe truly that there is a big issue here and it needs to be addressed, and we need more, to get out there so that other cities can see what's going on, and more people. We're so grateful, and that Valpo stepped up to the plate for us, and that's where the majority of the water is coming from. It's coming from Valpo.
Let me ask you, I might be totally off, but I'm just wondering, do you think that some in the Latino community are afraid to step forward because of the current president, and they don't want to speak out for fear of retribution, anything like that?
We carry a lot of immigrants here in East Chicago. We're trying to work for this to be a sanctuary city. And they basically don't step up to the plate. I just, and we do have a division here. We have a division here between the Latinos and African Americans.
It's like that in a lot of places.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was born and raised here, so I'm not afraid to step anywhere because, I raised my children here. My daughter raised my grandchildren here. So, anyone that I can help or be able to explain what's going on to them so that they could understand. That's how we're doing things, by word of mouth, you know, and trying to help those and trying to explain to them what's actually going on. I myself was so surprised still how many people don't even know what's going on. It's like, you know, how are we going to get to this, you know? It's going to have to be door to door. It's going to be having to open up to them and letting them know what's going on. Because they're not reading papers, they're not seeing TVs, they're just in the house, you know. I think that, you know, and I think the community strategy group, that's what we're doing. We're getting out there, we're explaining to them what's going on, we're helping them with water that's being donated from Valparaiso, you know, and we've put it in the paper, we've put it on Facebook for volunteers, for, you know, donations that came out in the Hammond Times yesterday. Also, they were accepting donations of water and help, volunteers, anything.
So tell the viewers, because we have some very generous viewers, how can they donate if they want to volunteer, donate water?
Any water that you would like to donate to the city of East Chicago, I can be reached. My name is Wanda Gordiels. I can be reached at area code 219-218-2737. And my home address is 4812 Todd Avenue. We're taking in distributions on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays from 9 to 12. And then we go out and distribute the water to the residents here in East Chicago and the Superfund sites.
I hope you know what you just unleashed, because you're going to get a lot of phone calls. Good phone calls. We have very generous viewers. Well, thank you. And yeah, we're going to stay on the story, so keep spotlighting it.
Okay, thank you so much. We really appreciate that. I really appreciate that, because this is my hometown, my daughter's hometown, and my grandchildren.
And it seems like it's not just about, to you, it's not just about the water, but it's about your life and your family's life.
Yes. And I'm sure a lot of, you know, people feel the same way. That's why we're out there trying to do the best we can to inform the residents and to help in any way that we can.